Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone. The games must continue. That's the word from the English Premier League, following an emergency meeting with senior club executives on Monday to discuss the COVID-19 outbreak wreaking havoc on the competition. Last week, 42 players tested positive for COVID-19, forcing the postponement of 6 matches from round 18. The Premier League issued a statement saying, while recognizing a number of clubs are experiencing COVID-19 outbreaks and challenges, it is the league's collective intention to continue the current fixture schedule where safely possible. It continues, the health and well-being of all concerned remains our priority, and the league will continue to monitor and reflect public health guidance, always proceeding with caution. Meanwhile, these are the results from the 4 games played in round 18. Spurs and Liverpool played out a 2-all classic, some say. I thought it was a good game, but everybody think it was this brilliant spectacle. It was a good game, nothing more than that. City stuffed Newcastle 4-0. Chelsea couldn't score a goal at Wolves. The home team didn't score either. And Arsenal toyed with Leeds, winning 4-1 at Elland Road. Now, after his team failed to keep pace with leaders Manchester City, the Liverpool boss Jurgen Klopp said the league needed to take a break because of the rising COVID-19 infections. This is what he said. It's impossible. We don't have the players. We have to think we will get an extra case or 2. We cannot just push it all through. The 26th and 28th, that's not possible. We would prefer to play, but we need help with the fixtures. Joining us now is our man of football from the British Isles, Simon Evans. Simon, last week, 42 positive cases. Today we're hearing that 90 positive cases in the Premier League. It's all falling down like a house of cards. So what is it that prompted the Premier League and its senior money men at the clubs to vote to continue?
Well, 90 positive tests out of 12,000 tests done. It's an incredible amount of tests. And, I was talking to somebody at a Premier League club this week who said there won't be an organisation or a business in the United Kingdom that tests anywhere near the level of the Premier League. So we need to put those numbers into context. And, of course, of those 90, with this new variant which is going around like wildfire around here, and lots of people are getting it and don't even know they've got it. It's spreading around. But the players, from what I understand, the vast majority of them are not having symptoms from it. So they're looking at it and saying, okay, these teams have squads of 25, 30. They have under 23 teams. If you're losing 3 or 4 players, which is what most of the cases have been, we've had some extreme cases where there's been 10, and I think when you get to that sort of level, fair enough to call it off. But if you look at 3 or 4 cases, these teams do have the squads to be able to deal with this. Put some of the younger players in, put some of the fringe players in. It's not perfect. Every manager's going to complain about it and want their best team out every time. But it's just got to be treated like an injury and battle through it, is what the Premier League is saying.
Let's keep talking about the money, Simon. Could it be possible that the Premier League itself, well, the Premier League from the administrative perspective, not counting the opinions of the club executives now, but that the Premier League was loath to say pause because based on the arrangements it has with its broadcasters, those lucrative arrangements, for it to act independently and author a pause would cause them to have huge bills to pay in terms of rebates rather than wait to see what government guidance was, because it is possible that maybe a week from now, government guidance could be that all sporting activity has to cease, and the Premier League is giving itself the wriggle room to say, well, we didn't shut it down, so we are not due to pay you back hundreds of millions of dollars because the government compelled us to so act. Could that be a part of the reason for them deciding not to break at this time?
That sounds a little bit cynical, but you might be right there. Yeah, I think so. Because, look, you're right. You're absolutely right. Last time when the Premier League stopped playing, it was because the government said public events had to stop. This would have been a voluntary decision. Now, last time the broadcasters were, broadly speaking, pretty tolerant of what happened. And the games went on eventually behind closed doors and so on. And they didn't go to the letter of their contracts, let's put it that way, and reclaim everything that they could have reclaimed. Would they have the same attitude if it was, and also we're talking about games over Christmas, which should be able to bring in bigger audiences for the broadcasters as well. So, yeah, a lot of factors. But also, I think, with the testing regime that they've set up, if you stop, how do you start again? When do you start again? When you have no positive tests? Well, that's not going to happen for a while. So it's very difficult once you stop to get going again. And they haven't been willing to change their testing regime. I mean, the NFL has a very different system that will produce less positive cases for them. But the Premier League, it's politically impossible to cut back on the number of tests once you're committed to it. So they're kind of stuck with this. And I think they're hoping just to get through the next week or so and then see where we are.
Yeah, Simon, I can't help but feel that the voices that are against the play continuing and arguing for suspension, including Jurgen Klopp, would also be positing that position because of their long-standing position that the Christmas New Year's Day schedule is highly congested and by itself is a problem.
Yeah, I was going to say Jurgen Klopp has always had that kind of attitude. Guardiola, who hasn't been calling strongly for a stop, Guardiola has always been puzzled by it because it doesn't exist in other countries. It is an English thing. In Spain and Italy, they take a break over Christmas. The same in Germany. The idea of playing 26th, 28th, I mean, it used to be even tighter at one time where they play on the 25th and 26th and so on in England. But it is part of the tradition of football here, and foreign managers don't like it, they don't understand it, and they don't think it's necessary. But so I think that might have been influencing what Klopp was saying.
Yeah, but aren't they in a situation, Simon, where they're running out of road? Because we must remember, this is a season like none other in Europe because there's a FIFA World Cup at the back end of the year, and those games which won't be played over the Yuletide season will have to be played at some time. And the New Year is the fixture list, which would have been congested already by Champions League commitments. And England, unlike Germany and Spain and Italy, have two domestic cup competitions, the League Cup and the FA Cup. So there's nowhere to hide. So I don't know why Klopp and Guardiola would be pushing for the suspension with that as the reason, because unlike a normal season where you get some respite, there's no respite in this particular year because of the congestion on the other side.
No, if you think what happened when we had the full lockdown in COVID and we didn't play for over a month, we were able to finish the season with the Champions League in August. And
that can't happen this year.
That can't happen this year because we've got to get the season underway early, because in November we're all off to Qatar for the World Cup. So absolutely, there's very limited room. That is a big factor in all this. And they have cut back with the FA Cup. They're saying they're not going to have replays for the third round and fourth round, so it's going to go straight to penalties and decide them out. That will reduce the workload a little bit. But, the FA Cup, that makes me laugh about it as well. That you saw the Chelsea side that Tuchel put out at the weekend looked pretty much like a Chelsea team, a normal Chelsea side. And they were asking for that game to be cancelled. And you think, you look at the teams they play in the FA Cup and the League Cup and the players that they can play, they can't bring 2 or 3 of those kind of players in to deputise for somebody who's having to quarantine. Of course they can. They just don't want to.
Absolutely so. A bit rich. The rich clubs bawling about not having enough players when they have squads bloated with all kinds of players, including those on the under 23 and under 21. And thank you very much for your time, Simon. That's all the time we have. All the best. We'll talk again.
All right, all the best. Cheers.
Good. Our man of football from the UK, Simon Evans. We break when we come back. Zone Update 2.